Number 32, Jeremy Brown, checks back in for Scotts Hill. He'll give Brian Ivy, number 30, a breather. Casey Meek back in for the Cardinals. Tony Engel back in for the Cardinals. And Chad White back in for the Cardinals. Lions working over for Hampton. Hampton underneath for Haywood. His pull-up jumper from the baseline. It's up and good. 33-19. Cardinals with the basketball. Over for Cleary. Cleary brings it out top for Chad White. White dumps it over for Hoover, and Hoover losing the handle on it. And the ball taken away by number 32, Jeremy Brown. And Chuck Matt may be looking at the basket before he caught the pass. Number 40, Casey Meek, going to be whistled for a foul as he's called for pushing. And Scotts Hill will have the basketball side front court. Jeremy Haywood works it in bounds. Pass almost stolen away by Matt Hoover. And I tell you what, Chuck, you got to throw it high to get over Matt Hoover's arms. Scotts Hill works it outside for James Hart. Hart dumps it over on the right wing for Jeremy Brown. Brown dumps it over for Haywood. His pull-up jumper, no good. Hoover with a rebound. As Hoover with another rebound. Works it ahead for White. White brings it out top for Casey Meek. Meek works it over on the right wing for Hoover. Hoover dumps it in the corner for Engel. And Engel trying to go underneath for Michael Clary. He has it deflected out of bounds by number 25, Jeremy Haywood. It'll go back to the Cardinals. They'll have it underneath their own basket. Matt Hoover works it in for Casey Meek. Meek passes it outside for Chad White. Back into the corner for Hoover. Hoover underneath for Meek. Meek off the glass. Shot no good. And Scotts Hill's James Hart comes out with a rebound. Hart works it over for Hampton. Hampton's pull-up jumper, no good. And Matt Hoover with another rebound, Chuck. I think that's about 7 in the first half for Hoover. Pull-up jumper by Meek, no good. Eric Hampton with a rebound. And his pass ahead to Jeremy Brown, thrown a little bit too far in front of him. It'll be out of bounds to the Cardinals. Good idea, Chuck. He just threw it a little too hard. Cardinals working in the corner for Casey Meek. A long pass comes back out for White. Underneath for Engel. Engel working it back outside for White. Over for Michael Clary. Chad White will shoot a three. Off the back of the rim, no good. Casey Meek with a follow underneath. And Casey Meek with a rebound sticks it right back in.
Nice play by Casey. He was watching that ball.
Hoover almost comes away with a steal. It'll be out of bounds to Scotts Hill. As Bubba Hoover will check back in for the Cardinals. He'll replace Casey Meek. Luke Rogers checking back in. He'll replace Michael Clary. So Coach Martin going with a little more speed, Chuck, as he brings in Bubba Hoover and Luke Rogers. Scotts Hill's Eric Hampton works it inbound to Jeremy Brown. Brown up ahead to Hampton. Hampton dumping it underneath for Haywood. Pull-up jumper, no good. Rebound, Presley Fiddler. Fiddler's turnaround jumper, no good. And Tony Engel with some nice work on the boards comes away with it for the Cardinals. Cardinals underneath, and Engel sticks it up and in. And Hoover with a behind-the-back pass, and they weren't ready for it, Chuck. But the Cardinals get it on a deflection, and Engel sticks it in. Jeremy Haywood pull-up jumper from the baseline up and good. 30. He's got what, Chuck? About.
Well, he got 6 points this quarter.
Bubba Hoover for 3 from the top of the circle. It's up, it's good by John Hoover. 40-21. Scotts Hill with a basketball. They work it ahead for Haywood. Haywood with a long pass out top for Hampton. Hampton works it in the corner for Ivy. And Ivy back out top for Hampton. Hampton works it in the corner for Ivy. Ivy double teamed. Works it over for Fiddler. Fiddler kicks it outside for Brown. Brown's three-pointer. It's up and it's good from way outside. That's Jeremy Brown with his first basket of the ball game. Hoover outside for Luke Rogers. Rogers' three-pointer no good. And Presley Fiddler comes out with a rebound. Works it over to Eric Hampton. Hampton dumps it on the left wing for Ivy. Ivy back out for Hampton. Hampton over for Brown. His pull-up three is up and good. So Jeremy Brown heating up from outside, Chuck, as he's hit 2 threes in a row. 40-27. Cardinals trying to go underneath for Hoover, and the pass lost out of bounds. Looked like it went off Scotts Hill, Chuck, but they're going to give it back to the lines. Say it was last touched by the Cardinals. Scotts Hill works it on the left wing for Brian Ivy. Out top for Jeremy Brown. And a whistle and a reach-in foul going to be called against the Cardinals. Number 23, Luke Rogers, whistle for the foul.
Been pretty fast half, Tom.
It'll be Scotts Hill basketball as they work it inbounds for Jeremy Brown. Brown dumps it in the corner for Eric Hampton. Hampton's pull-up three. It's short. Rebound Luke Rogers. Rogers up ahead for Bubba Hoover. And Bubba Hoover with a left-handed layup. Puts it up and it's good at the buzzer. That's the end of the first half. The Cardinals 42 and the Scotts Hill Lions 27. We'll take a 2 as Matt Hoover inbounds the ball to Chad White. White works it over for John Hoover. Hoover underneath for Matt Hoover. And Matt Hoover up over the top of the rim, lays it up and in. Give the assist to his little brother John. Good alley-oop pass from brother to brother. Pull-up jumper by number 20, Eric Hampton. From the baseline is up and it's good. 44-29. John Hoover out top for Matt Hoover. Matt Hoover works it over to Chad White. White backs it out near half court. Works it on the right wing to Hoover. Underneath for Engel all alone. And Tony Engel puts it up and in. And Chuck, he was wide open. Three-pointer by Brian Ivy of Scotts Hill, no good. And Chad White comes out with a rebound. White passes it out top for Meek. Meek over for Bubba Hoover. Underneath for Engel. And the ball almost stolen by Scotts Hill. Bubba Hoover will get it on the deflection. His shot no good, and Eric Hampton comes out with it for the Lions. Hampton out top for Jeremy Brown. Brown's three-pointer no good. And Casey Meek running down the rebound. Works it ahead to John Hoover. Hoover out top for Casey Meek. Meek works it over for Chad White. Over to Matt Hoover. Underneath for Engel, and Engel unable to handle the pass.
That was a nice little lob pass, but Tony gets had a hard time getting over it. Couldn't get the grip there.
The ball out of bounds to Scotts Hill. Scotts Hill works it ahead to Brian Ivy. Ivy works it over to Jeremy Brown. Brown dumps it back outside for Ivy. Out top for Hampton. Hampton backs it out near half court. Tries to drive the lane, and has the ball stripped away and almost stolen by John Hoover, and Hampton back to tie it up. A jump ball called. Possession error will be Scotts Hill. Presley Fiddler works it in for Haywood. Haywood's shot no good. And Chad White comes away with a rebound. Long pass up ahead for Matt Hoover. Hoover underneath for Casey Meek, and the pass a little too hard.
Drilled that thing into Casey.
Scotts Hill comes away with a basketball, but they're called immediately for double dribble, so it'll go back to the Cardinals under their own basket. Hoover, a long pass comes into Chad White. White works it over for Matt Hoover. Hoover's pull-up jumper is partially blocked, and a foul.